Wonderful. Thank you so much to our partners. Let's go to panel 3 now, where we are going to talk about how we can look forward to the future and make this better for everybody. We have Dr. Chris Gibbons with us today. He's the CEO of the Greystone Group, and he'll be moderating his panel, which consists of Dr. Courtney Lyles and Dr. Maya Nguyen. You're up, Chris.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me? Good.
Loud and clear.
Great. Well, thanks, everybody. We're glad to be with you today. Today, this panel is going to be talking about making exposure notification work for everybody. Certainly, you're going to hear a lot about the challenges. You've already heard about some, but I'm also encouraging you to think about actual solutions to the challenges, right? Not just the problems. What does good look like in this scenario? How long will it take us to actually achieve it? Can we succeed now? Or is this something that's going to take years and years and years, and for all intents and purposes can't be done now? As good as CA Notify is, how many people without smartphones can benefit? How many people without broadband can benefit? How many of the digitally disconnected can benefit? Pew has estimated that about 5% of our population are totally and completely digitally disconnected. We've all heard the saying, the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Well, the weak link in this case threatens everyone, not just the people who can't connect, who can't benefit, who aren't able to benefit from exposure notification, because they become vectors that affect us all. At Greystone, we spend a lot of time thinking about the future, thinking about health and digital technologies at that intersection, especially for underserved populations, but not only. History has taught us that the most powerful public health interventions are actually passive. They're things that you don't have to download. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to turn them on. They just work. Think iodination of salt. Think chlorination of water. Nobody thinks about those things these days. Yet those two interventions, you don't do a single thing, but they're saving millions of lives and preventing countless days and hours and time of morbidity every single day. The question I have for you today as we go through this panel is, can we make exposure notification 100% passive, where nobody has to do anything? Nobody has to download anything. Can we make it invisible? It's not something that we have to consciously do or think about, but it's just there. Can we make it work for absolutely everyone all the time? Can we make it 100% automated so that you don't even have to turn it on? You don't have to do anything. It just works when it needs to work. And therefore, can we make it 100% equitable? Can we make the barriers irrelevant, even if we can't get rid of the barriers? What do I mean? Can we make it where health literacy, and often a barrier that you hear is responsible for a lot of the inequity that we see, particularly with digital technologies. Can we make the fact that some people may have a health literacy problem irrelevant to whether the technology will work and work well for those same people? Can we make digital or literacy or technology literacy irrelevant, that problem? Can we make the lack of broadband connectivity, which has gotten a lot of press lately, can we make that problem irrelevant? Can we make the lack of smartphones or devices themselves that plague this issue, can we make that problem irrelevant and still accomplish high quality exposure notification for everyone? At Greystone, we believe the answer is absolutely yes. You see, because we believe the power of technology is not really in devices and apps, and we do believe in the power of technology, but the real power is when these things become invisible. You don't think about them. They're built into the environment around us, and are just part of the fabric of everyday life. And they just work when they need to. Think about it. Nobody thinks about how and why automatic door openers at the mall work. You just get close to them and they work. They open and then they close behind you. Can we make exposure notification work that well? We believe you can. Today, we don't have time to talk about any specific solutions along these lines that we're talking about. But suffice it to say that if we are to ever get to this place, three things are true. We have to think differently about both the problems and the solutions if we're ever going to get there, because the way we've been thinking about them hasn't worked yet. We've got to challenge the norms and the assumptions that are out there. And some of those assumptions are our assumptions, things that we believe about the problems, things that we believe about the people who are often under the problems, or their use of technology and other things. We've got to challenge all of those. And finally, we've got to refuse to accept the status quo or perceived barriers as unchangeable. Because if they're unchangeable, then what are you doing in this business? We believe every problem is in fact impossible until the first person does it. With that, let's hear from our panelists who are actually out there doing it right now.